Everybody, here we are, October 2024, and my conversation is officially going to change with all of my sellers. Here's what I'm going to say to them. Here's why. I want to describe it all in this video. It's really one main sentence. I'm sorry I'm a little under the weather here. My voice gets a little cracky. But there's more buyers today than there will be tomorrow. The days of listing your house at the tip-top dollar or even overpricing it, which has been the common theme for the last, we're going to call it 5 years, those days are over. And the reason is more buyers today than there will be tomorrow. If you overprice your home, buyers don't look at it. As soon as you go to do a price drop, there's less buyers when you do the price drop. Ultimately, we always leave it up to our sellers to make their own decision. We will always give them what we feel is a pure market opinion in order for them to get the best offer, the most money, the least hassle. Because if you've ever done a real estate deal and had hassle from any side, you know how that goes. It can be a nightmare. So that's the conversation we're going to be having. And the reason is buyers are not coming into the market really right now. Haven't been for the last year or two. Inventory is continuing to go up. I really think probably by the end of November, if not sooner, we should be, maybe even end of October, we should be at over 6,000 homes for sale. So we're arguably getting into the slow time of real estate as far as what would be the stereotype. And I don't think by the time the Fed does another rate drop, they should meet, I think it's like November 1st, something like that. They'll meet again, I think it's mid-December. I think it's every 45 days. By the time they do another rate drop or two, maybe another one at the end of January. So maybe that's between those three. That's maybe 1 full point of a rate drop. Maybe that gets us down in the mid-5s. I still don't think the mid-5s, which puts your VA and FHA at like 5. I still don't think that's a low enough interest rate to get buyers into the market. Because I think with inflation, how the last couple of years have been, rent skyrocketed. People haven't been able to save a lot of money. They've been spending money. They're more in debt than they've ever been. So when it comes time for 2025 tax season, which we saw a tremendous increase this year. I thought it was like a market kind of shift, and I thought the market was going to pick back up. Man, but it was like a 60-day catch fire, multiple offers, craziness. Buyers everywhere, sellers getting top dollar, and all of a sudden it was like right after April, bam, it was like the bottom fell out again. We were right back slow, and I really do think we're only getting slower. Although when you see your median sales price, I've done a video on this a while back, the data is just muddied. That's all it is. It's true, it's not fake data. However, only like 20% of all listings are below, I don't even know if it's 20% anymore, are below 300,000. So 80% of listings are above 300,000, which means, again, just pure math, right? Of course, the price is going to continue to go up because people are buying more expensive homes. I saw some great data yesterday that said 29% in East Tennessee, 29% of all home sales were cash. And so that's a lot of money moving pieces. That's really a lot of people selling their home, getting all that equity, being like, I don't want to deal with 6-7% interest. I'm going to buy it cash. And so only 70% of the people really buying homes were getting loans there. And it was record low buyers the last year. And then this year will be the same thing, record low amount of buyers. As we get into peak season, I really do think for sellers, in order to get the most money, the best offer, you're probably going to have to list, and you're going to have to take what would be under the appraisal value. However, don't get caught up in the appraisal value. The reason why I'm saying this is there's an appraisal value and there's a market value. Now, the market is going to start bringing these values down here in East Tennessee. Now, I'm not really, again, under 300,000, I still think it's a very tough market. It's just because of low inventory. But overall, our prices are coming down. I see the back end of these contracts. I see sellers paying $10,000, $15,000 towards closing cost of the buyers. I see sellers spend another $10,000, $20,000, depending on situation, $30,000 towards repairs. Although the home is still selling, you know, at the list price, well, the seller made out with $40,000 less, right? So that's what I mean when I talk about the data being muddied. Is it's not truly showing you what is the seller's walk away, which is, I think, ultimately the most important thing. It doesn't matter if your house sells for $300,000 or if it sells for $330,000 and you're giving back $30,000 in concessions to the buyer to make it happen. Right, on paper, it's like, oh my gosh, you got $330, that's awesome, but your neighbor only got $300. Well, they actually walked away with the same money. But consumers and stuff, you're never really going to be able to see that, and that data, we haven't been able to see it as realtors. But now, with these MLS changes that's happened, they've actually started adding this data in, which I think is going to be very interesting when we're running comps, to be able to be like, well, man, you know, and this just started in August, so I won't be able to see this for anything pre-August. Anything that's closed, you know, in the last 2 months almost, I'll be able to go in and see what the concessions was from the seller, right? What did they pay? How much did they spend on repairs? How much did they spend on concessions? So whenever we're doing comps, and I'm saying, hey, you know, your house comped at $300,000. However, you know, all these other $300,000 houses selling, just be aware, they all pay over $25,000 towards concessions and repairs. So really, your home's more worth $275,000. And realistically, you're going to get a better offer if you list it at $275,000, because you're probably being that far under, have a good chance at multiple offers, a good chance at somebody waiving an inspection, a good chance at somebody thinking they're getting a deal, and so making the contract nice and smooth, and potentially getting it up to $285,000 versus $300,000. It's set and you have to lower it to $290,000, and then you get under contract and they're beating you up for repairs, and then you got more concessions. So my conversation's officially changing. Again, ultimately, we always let our sellers decide, but we give them what I feel is a very honest opinion of what the home probably will and should sell for. But I can tell you right now, I have several listings, and I feel bad for my sellers, but I thank them for obviously trusting me. But I have several listings that are undervalued, and they're just setting. Little to no activity. Agents on my team have listings that are undervalued, and they're just setting. Our sellers are willing to offer closing costs. Our sellers are super flexible. They understand. But there's just no activity. And for the most part, that probably is a lot around, we listed it high several months ago, even potentially, and we're starting to lower it, right, which was a strategy at the time that seemed to work and seemed to kind of get the best in most. But we're at a point now where you really got to list your home undervalue, make buyers think you're getting a deal that might potentially create your multiple offers, which actually will drive it up, get you the best deal. Because unless you're in a few niche buckets, which I would discuss if somebody was, unless you're in a few of those niche buckets, the days of top dollar for sellers gone. Buyers aren't going to have it. There's too much inventory. Inventory's only going up. Buyers aren't motivated to get into the market because all the Fed's doing and all the signs are pointing to interest rates coming down. Well, if interest rates come down, they can afford more, or their payment will be less for the same house. So therefore, there is little to no motivation for buyers. And as we're starting to get into the cold and we're starting to get into a time change where it's dark at 5 p.m., so many people now don't see homes at 6 and 7 and 8. All these factors are going to come into play. So I really do think that is the route we're going to go. But I really do think sellers need to open their eyes to the situation that they're in, and, you know, try to roll the dice. And again, just because you do one way or the other, you list it high doesn't mean that we wouldn't be wrong and you wouldn't get it. Or you list it low doesn't mean we would be right and all of a sudden you're going to get a more or better value. All these factors, it is an educated guess. 10 realtors are going to give you 10 different opinions on what it is. We're all going to think we're exactly right, and, you know, should be able to give you educated and opinions and facts and reasoning. I got to get this little
tag here.
Please press the blue button for a ticket.
Come on.
Please take your ticket.
There we go.
Thank you.
But we should be able to validate our opinions, and that's a big thing. Is don't just take an opinion. Ask your agent why. Why do you feel this way? And you know, ultimately make your decision from there. But as always, guys, if you got questions, I always try to keep you guys updated. Always feel free to holler at me. Insurance questions, more real estate questions. Always happy to help. See ya.